When you want Chicago's classic hits, turn to 94.7 WLS. For traffic and weather info, tune into 890 AM WLS for traffic and weather first on the fives when you need it most.
When you see news happening, call the 89 WLS News Tip Hotline. Help make 89 WLS the most plugged-in news department in Chicago. See it. Say it. The WLS News Tip Hotline, 312-236-0507. Speaking of news, I'm John Cass. This is Lauren Cohen. Lauren, there's a weird phenomenon.
I love this.
Springing out of the forehead of the Teo.
You knew this was going to happen,
The
John.
Monty Teo. No, I did not know this is happening. This
Really?
is so bizarre and foreign, I can't even deal with it. This is about the now I guess I got to pose.
Right, we're talking about
weird
tailwing.
poses.
So remember, we know about
tailwing. What is that?
Tailwing. Tailwing is when you take a picture of yourself doing something with an imaginary person there. And we also want to hear your ideas out there about tailwing. So I'm having a romantic dinner with my delusional guest. So I take a picture of myself, 2 chairs, having a romantic dinner.
Or I take a picture of myself in a big comfy couch smoking a pipe, and I say that Rahm Emanuel is sitting on my lap while I'm reading him a bedtime story.
Right, and there's
like
no
that.
Rahm Emanuel there, though.
Oh, he's not going to sit in my lap?
It's your imaginary delusional friend.
And that's the whole idea, because Teo had this imaginary girlfriend.
He was slightly delusional. We'd love to hear from people what would be John or Lauren's best tailwing.
So I'm going to have to come up with a few of these, like posing in certain different, as long as I don't have to wear a Speedo. I mean, I'm just in my big boy clothes, okay?
You could be on your tandem bike with no one behind you and take a picture. Right, that's a great idea. So what about this Associated Press, though, breaking the news yesterday that he learned on December 6th, reportedly, this was all hoax, but then he did an interview on the 8th and another interview on the 11th, still talking about her.
So he was Teoing his own dead girlfriend that he knew wasn't...
Tailwing, yes.
Tailwing, I'm sorry, but you know what? The thing that freaks me out is that already WLS listeners are coming into posing. Okay, Peter of Chicago, you're on 89 WLS. You have something? How should I pose?
First of all, I'd like to say that I really miss Jake Hartford. He was a wonderful talk show host and journalist. So I want to say he's definitely missed. Nothing against current hosts at all.
Peter, I was at the wake last night, and it was great. I mean, it was nice to see the family. It was terrible that we had to see them this way. He was a great guy.
Wonderful
and you know
man.
what Jake would say right now? Besides the clock is your friend, John, he would say, Peter, it's your dime, your dance floor.
Okay, in Polynesia and in Samoa, and I'm sure both of you know Margaret Mead, it's sport to tell tall tales and to keep stringing people along. And Margaret Mead was a victim herself of this, and the kids who perpetrated the hoax and gave her material for her earth-shattering book they many years later said, it was just a joke. We do this for fun. And we knew we were stringing her along, and this, I think, is what's going on with Manti Teo. He is Samoan. The people who allegedly did this to him to string him along are Samoan, and it's a cultural thing. It's not malicious. It has nothing to do with fraud. It starts out as a sport, and it's like, who can top this?
It's Clint Eastwood with the empty chair at the RNC.
Is Clint Eastwood Samoan?
No, but maybe he thinks he is.
No, but Peter, clearly you've studied this. Are you a student of anthropology of some kind, or?
I've had friends in Polynesia for a long time, and it's a personal interest. I'm not an anthropologist.
Well, I am. I'm a political anthropologist of Chicago, and I'll tell you that's fascinating. I'm going to read more about it after the show.
And someone wrote a book and exposed Margaret Mead years after her death, and one of the kids was still alive. And the reason I keep going back to her is she was a worldwide celebrity, and the book was The Fateful Hoaxing of Margaret Mead. And if you read that, you will get an insight into what happened with Manti Te'o, either to him or he was an unwilling participant, seemingly. And it's a sport.
Okay, as long as you're an anthropologist and not a defense lawyer setting up a possible defense for later, I will think that. No, I'm just teasing. Thank you, Peter.
Definitely.
Thanks, Peter. Now we're going to go to George and Moni. George.
Hey, John, how you doing?
What's up, George?
Oh, nothing to it. Hey, sorry on Jake, man. He was the best. Hey,
okay.
What do you call, I would think that in a land where imaginary jobs are commonplace, imaginary friends wouldn't be that rare here in Chicago, you know?
Second Life.
You mean because in Chicago we have imaginary jobs?
Yeah, I mean...
Like what kinds? Like the no-show job on the construction site where you just play cards?
Yeah, wouldn't the first lady of the country be what do you call, a poster child for this with her imaginary job?
Well, her imaginary job went from $150,000 to $300,000, I think, when her husband became senator. So there was no imaginary Michelle Obama money.
So that must mean there's no imaginary glass ceiling either. Wow.
George, what's Lauren gonna what kind of poses should Lauren and I strike to do our tailoing?
What do you think about tailoing?
I'll tell you what. I'm going to tell you guys the same thing I tell all my friends as kids that are going off to Afghanistan to fight in the war and everything. Don't let anybody take your picture doing anything, because it will come back to you against you later.
Okay, George, that's good advice, and I would say keep your clothes on, right, when you take the pictures. Thanks a lot, George. But I would, tailoring, I would like to, I can think of a number of restaurants where I would like to be. I could, take you, that way I could take you to lunch, like at Greek Islands or Capri and Burr Ridge, and I wouldn't even have to pay for it.
Right, because you could do anything in your delusional world.
I'd say, enjoy these beautiful appetizers at Capri, and you wouldn't even be, I wouldn't be hit with a check.
This whole thing has created a tailoing movement.
It's kind of weird, and people are creating alternate universes for themselves that don't exist, and girlfriends, I'm sorry, I'm too old school. When I met Betty, on the side of the river out at the Sicilian village with my friends and with the Lupadas, and we were walking there, I wanted to smell her hair. I wanted to touch her hand. I didn't want to touch my thumbs to a keyboard, but
Dr. Daniela,
I'm just too weird about that.
We were talking about what Dr. Daniela said yesterday, that people are creating this, they're online all the time. They're not out communicating with people, interacting with people.
You've got a girlfriend, smell the back of her neck once in a while and, enjoy yourself. This is John Cass. She's Lauren Cohen. We're back after the break.